Hi everyone, in case you're tuning in for the first time, I am the spiritual seeker. I am an independent researcher, numerologist, and member of Black Space Tanzania. Black Space is a Black consciousness formation. You can follow us on Twitter or like our Facebook page for more information and updates. In the previous episodes, we mentioned how there was a political vacuum in the country and how this was largely because of the banning of political organizations like the ANC and the PAC. And this followed by what were known as the Biko raids in 1963. In this episode, we look into the essay Fear, an Important Determinant in South African Politics. This essay is chapter 12 in the book we are currently reading, I Write What I Like, a collection of essays on the philosophy and movement of Black consciousness in the belly of apartheid South Africa. Steve Biko writes this essay in 1971, observing how dejected and demoralized the masses of Black people were. While this was largely due to state violence and intimidation, the banning orders, house arrests, the raids and detentions, Biko recognizes that all these were intended to create fear amongst the oppressed community of Black people. Biko therefore does not understand why time is wasted trying to understand the logic in state violence and intimidation, especially when all of these are a means to reinforce the original cruelty of invasion and the dispossession of land and resources of the African people. Here is Biko in his own ways. My premise has always been that Black people should not, at any one stage, be surprised at some of the atrocities committed by the white government. This to me follows logically after their initial assumption that they, being a settler minority, can have the right to be supreme masters. If they could be cruel enough to cow the natives down with brutal force and install themselves as perpetual rulers in a foreign land, then anything else they do to the same Black people becomes logical in terms of their initial cruelty. To expect justice from them at any stage is to be naive. Biko goes on to also highlight how violent the townships in South Africa are and how they are the complete opposites of the suburbs and all other white residential areas. This is because the townships have deliberately been created to become what Frans Fanon calls the zones of non-being. In recent times, for example, Blackwash movement of Tanzania did important work around the politics that engender the geo-socio-economic differences between Sandton and the township of Alexandra, a visual representation of how divided South Africa is. So, in 1971, at the height of state violence, this is the context within which Biko writes his essay, observing how all the atrocities create fear in order for the oppressed masses of Black people to willingly surrender their lives and power to the regime, accepting the might of the settler colonial system of apartheid.